Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. Well, today I'm taking a look at another small box game. In fact, a teeny tiny box game. Basically think of button shy wallet games, for example. Think of them. It's a small card dueling game from Smart Flamingo and it's called Eye to Eye. There you go, look how small that is. Really tiny. And this is a fast-paced dueling card game in which two players use bluff, cunning and dexterity to defeat their opponent. I do love a small box game and I do love the creativity that goes into these games that are just 18 playing cards. It's incredible what game designers can do with such a limited amount of cards. So this is, by its very nature, a two-player game and will last you around 10 minutes or less. Before we take a look at how to play Eye to Eye Duel, let's take a Fun with Boxes look at what you get inside. Okay, let's take a look at Eye to Eye Duel. The first thing you need to do is open up your pack of cards, remove the rules cards, find and remove the two broken gun cards, and each player will have one of those cards. Then find the three wound cards and set them to one side. You will then have the rest of the cards remaining, which you will give a good shuffle, and then place four cards face up in a row in front of the players. And then you simply deal the remaining cards equally amongst the players. Each player then picks up their hand of cards, and then you're ready to play. At the beginning of the game, you will choose a first player, and then in subsequent rounds you start taking turns. A game of Eye to Eye Duel is divided into rounds that will eventually end in a shootout, and the game will continue until one player receives a second wound. Before starting the round, players will look through the cards that they've received, keeping them secret from the other player. And what the rules say is that during the game, players keep their cards in sight, but they must constantly look into each other's eyes for the entire game. So let's have a look at what actions you can take on your turn. You can perform one of the following three actions. You can play a card from your hand and place it face down on one of the four piles. Or, instead, you can move a card and you will take the top face-down card from one of the piles and move it to another pile without looking at it. Or, finally, you can skip a turn and you will knock twice on the table and pass your current turn. And you will both keep playing turns until the shootout occurs. And the shootout will happen when either both players pass one after another, or when one player passes twice in a row. That will then trigger the shootout. So each player will then place their free hand on a selected pile of cards on the table as quickly as possible. And if both players reach for the same pile, then the player who got there first will take the pile and the other player will get nothing. Players will then look at their cards and check to see who won that shootout. So, for example, if I chose these cards and my opponent chose these cards, let's see who would have won. So you turn the cards over and I've got two queens, an ace and a king, and my opponent has three jacks. Oh, So we are looking to wound our opponent, and in order to wound an opponent, two conditions must be met. The claimed pile must contain at least 2 shot cards of the same type. Plus, there cannot be a broken weapon card in the pile. If a pile contains a broken weapon card, no damage is dealt to the opponent. So for example, if one of us had picked this pile, it contains a broken weapon, and that's no good. And if only one player meets the conditions, their opponent will receive a wound. If both players can wound each other, then we have to check the damage resolution. And in this example here, I have a pair of queens and my opponent has 3 jacks. So if both players have pairs or threes of a kind in their piles and no one has a broken weapon card, the wound is dealt to the player with the higher hand. So in this case, the 3 of a kind is going to win over a pair. If both players play a pair or a 3 of a kind, then the wound is dealt by the player who has the higher hand, going from head, torso, arm and leg. So if we had this situation, pair of queens versus the pair of jacks, then the pair of queens is the higher, so I would deal 1 wound to my opponent. But if no one has dealt a wound, then no one receives a wound card and a new round begins. And the game will end immediately when one of the players receives a second wound. And the game really is as straightforward as that. On your turn, players will be playing cards from their hands, perhaps moving cards, until eventually someone knocks twice in a row or both players pass on consecutive turns. Then players will grab a pile and then reveal to see who won. That's a broken weapon. Uh-oh, no good. And there's my pair of kings. That player gets a wound. There is an advanced mode, and there is one change to the rules. The acquired stack must contain cards that can be used to form one of the scoring combinations, not just a pair or 3 of a kind. And you can use a maximum of 6 cards from the stack. And here are the available combinations arranged according to hierarchy. Well, there you go. Eye to Eye Duel. Such a simple, quick, easy to play little game that's also really good fun too. This is one that you can stick literally in your wallet or in your pocket, in your handbag, and take it with you anywhere you go. It really is that small. In fact, if I take the cards out, you see, take the rules out, and there you go. That's it. That is it. You could pop that in your wallet or handbag and you are good to go. And this is one that will certainly be coming around with me for some time, just because it's quick, simple, and just plain fun to play. And it is all about that bluff. What card have you played? What card have you moved, perhaps? Did you play a card knowing that it's good and move it onto another pile? And then when suddenly you do the draw, you grab the pile and your opponent grabs a pile. What have you got? Oh, it's just quick, silly fun. It's just all about bluff, cunning and dexterity, as in, can you grab the pile you want first before your opponent? Good, quick, filler fun. That's Eye to Eye Duel. Well, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at that with me. If you did, please consider hitting the like button and also hit that subscribe button too. That would be super awesome of you. And as always, thanks so much for watching. And in the meantime, please do take care and bye for now.